biri, 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 bim, bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, and welcome to those who are here. Welcome as well to all who are joining us via Zoom or whatever we're streaming on. Welcome. For those of you who are here, actually looks like everybody's in the right place, more or less. Just to note, you can wear a mask anywhere in the sanctuary. If you are in the back on this side, this is the mask section. You got to think like back in the old days when there were smoking sections. This is like the opposite of the smoking section. So mask section. Otherwise, your choice. So with that, we will begin page 131. If you are joining us online on the Caddy webpage, there is a link to the online version of the Sidur Mishkan Tefillah. Pagination should be the same. Again, page 131. Shir Ladonai, Shir Shir Chadash, Shir Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shir Ladonai, Shir Shir Chadash, Shir Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shir Ladonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Leyom Tehilato, Shir Ladonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Leyom Yeshuato, Sabru Balayim Yavodo, Page 132. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exalt. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exalt. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai, who is coming to rule the world justly and its peoples in faithfulness. Page 133. Mizmor Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash Ki Tiflaot Nasav, Hoshi Alo Yemino, Uzero Azro Akodsho, Hodi Adonai Yeshuato, Leitei Hagoyim Magilat Sikato, Zakar Kaso, Vemunato Levei Yisrael, Ra'u Choaf Seh Aretz, Et Yeshua Deloheinu, Yai Lai Lai Ariyu Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shabbat Bride, Lachad Odi, page 138, and Stephen Petra Bolias. Psalm for the Shabbat day, page 140. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatecha v'leilot, alei asur v'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. V'silo yavin etzot, tzadikat ha'amar yifrat, ke'erez b'almanon yizkesh etulim, bebeit Adonai, bechatzrot Eloheinu, yafrichu, onyenu beseva, v'shenim berale 263. Yet Gadal, Yet Gadash, Shemei Rabba, the Almighty Brachir Deviam Lech Malkute, Bechaye, Cholu Biomecho, Uchaye Dachol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, Ubisman Karit, V'yemeru Amen, Yeheshmei Rabba Mevorach, Leolam lo meomaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach Yishtabach, Yitbar Yitrumam Yitnasev Yitadar Yitalev Yitalal, Shemei Kudsha Berichu, Leila Miko Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechemata, Dami Hiran Yama, V'yemeru Amen. We rise as able, Baruch Hu, page 264. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro margiv haragim, v'chokhma potach sha'arim, u'bitu ne'meshane ikim, u'machalif et asmanim, u'mesader et הכוכבים במשנותיהם, ברקיע כרצונו. אור היום בלילה גולה אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. חבק הים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב הרבים. 266. אהבת עולם בין ישראל עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו שוכבנו וקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך V'shivtecha b'beitecha, u'lechtecha b'derech, u'kshovecha u'kumecha, u'kshartam lahod al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'b'isharecha, l'ma'an tizkeru, v'asitem et u'mitzvotai, v'tem kedoshim le'loechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hoseti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, v'hiyot lachem Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, page 269. Long ago we escaped the power of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. Moshe Miriam B'nai Yisrael Lechanu Shira B'Simcha Rabbah Amru Kulam. Michamocha, page 207. Ashkivenu, a prayer for peace, prayer for shelter. Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu Shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shalom becha, v'taktenu be'etzat tovam yofanecha. Ba'adenu v'chaser me'aleinu, oyev dever v'perev v'ra'av v'yadon, v'charvei mimenu avon v'fesha. V'tzneil ha'pehad haskireinu, ki el shomreinu u'matzilenu ata, ki el chanun v'rachum ata. Rahum Berahumata. Ushor Seikenu U'Oenu L'Shalayim, U'Lishalom Me'at Habiad Olam, Ushmor Seikenu U'Oenu L'Chaim, We rise as able for Tefillah, beginning page 273. Adonai Sefatai Kitab Ubiagi Tefilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, 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 Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VaHaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel HaChadim Tovim, Megonei HaKol, Vezocher Chatzei Avot Bimahot, Umemi Goel et Nemenehem, L'mat Shemo B'Yahah, Melech Hoser Moshio Magid, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Abraham Bezras Haran, Atagi Mornelam Adonai Mechayim Metim Echaraboshia, Morid Hatal, Mechoel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayim Metim Berachim Rabbi, Somech Noflim Verofet Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umidal Melach, Melech Memit, Umekayem, Umatzniach Yeshua, V'ne'amanat Halachayot Metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei HaMetim. Atah Kadosh B'Shimcha Kadosh, you are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Continue each with our own hearts, prayers, and meditations. To page 282. When you like, you may be seated. 282. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Pasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Pasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Pasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Pasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Pasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Pasim Leolam. Pasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai mevorech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Invite all who are here to share anything you are feeling grateful for this week. Big things in your life, small things along the way, but anything for which you are feeling gratitude.
Really grateful for submitting the grades for one class.
Mazel.
We were supposed to have a dance performance, but we didn't have it because my teacher got COVID.
Oh,
my goodness.
well, next prayer for healing, we'll get your teacher in there.
Thankful for all mothers as Mother's Day weekend approaches.
Sure.
So then now we're under contract for a house in Bellingham.
Wow, Mazel tov. Alan.
The first time I've been here in 2 years.
Well,
I said it's been for a couple of years, but it's really nice to be home.
Welcome back. Yeah, it's nice to have you. So for all that we are grateful for, we say Modim Anach Nulach. Give thanks to you, Eternal One, Creator and Sustainer and Source of life. May we go from strength to strength, and may we offer our abundant gratitude for your many blessings along the way. And let us say Amen.
Amen.
Prayers for healing. Again, I invite, if you have names of folks who you are holding in your prayers for healing on Shabbat.
George and Michael, who have COVID, and Clint and Dave.
Megan, Bible.
Your teacher.
Who is Kabbalat.
Sure. Vega Sipora, Raymond Inez. For these, for all others who are in need of strength and healing, Misha Beirach, page 371, and Stephen Patrick will lead us.
Source of strength, who bless the ones
So I'd like to raise a question for discussion, but it takes a little bit of introduction to get there. So, from this morning, from the portion that we will read, that Abby Davis will read tomorrow morning as she becomes bat mitzvah, we are geographically halfway through the Torah. This is a good week if you're lifting. It's perfectly balanced. It's the best week for the lift. But it's also central ideologically as well as geographically. The rabbis have a game that they like to play in Talmudic times where each would offer a suggestion for klal gadol b'Torah. What is the greatest central guiding principle, the foundation of the whole Torah? And many of them settled on a line that is in this week's portion. It's one which is familiar to many of us. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. This line was particularly central to Hillel the Elder, one of the greatest of the sages, who, it is told in a famous story, was approached by a pagan asking to convert, if he could teach him the Torah on one foot, and Hillel replies with this line, except. Hillel doesn't phrase the teaching as it is offered in the book of Leviticus. Instead of love your neighbor as yourself, he says, what is hateful to you, do not do unto others. This, he says, is the whole Torah. All the rest is commentary. People leave off that part too often. Commentary is not footnotes at the end. Commentary is the heart of who we are and what we do. So all the rest is commentary. Go and learn it. But I'd like to raise the question for consideration. Why does Hillel change the wording from the positive, love your neighbor as yourself, to a negative formulation, don't do to others that which is hateful, that which you would not want done unto you? So, thoughts, comments, suggestions? Yeah.
It's sort of the opposite of what Jesus said, the golden rule.
Right. Right.
The opposite thing.
Right, indeed. But I don't think Hillel said it to be contrary, although there are things that in our Jewish tradition that are contrary, because the early Judeo-Christians said, so, they did it this way, so we're going to do it that way, and that went back and forth. And
I like what Hillel said.
Andrea, then Andrea.
Okay.
I'll let you decide which one goes first.
I was just gonna say, it makes more sense sometimes to say it in the negative. It makes more of a punch to people than it does when it's positive. It's just too milquetoast that way, where it makes you think when he says, if you don't want anything done to you, then don't do it to somebody else.
Okay, so for you it has kind of more gravitas than the
Yes.
negative. Okay, Andrea leads.
It's interesting because we were thinking a lot alike. I was thinking that he said it so that they would personalize it as thinking, oh, what would I not want a neighbor to do to me? I gotta make sure that I don't do that kind of thing too. That if it hits you in the gut, you're gonna tend to identify with it and follow it more religiously.
Yes. Although you could do the same in the positive, right?
Right.
That which I want a neighbor to do to me, I really want to do for my neighbor. Randall.
I'm just going to background, of course, the big answer is
Right?
love your neighbor as yourself.
Yes. Yes, the Leviticus text is positive. So the question I'm asking is it's a kind of serious thing, although the rabbis do it all the time, to tinker with the biblical text. Why would that's the question, is why would Hillel take a perfectly good biblical text and retell it with this twist? Shira, then Andrew.
Well, maybe
Okay,
So the other one covers more ground, and there's not that possible vacuum in between.
okay, so love your neighbor as yourself depends on loving yourself, right? If you don't love yourself, that would make it hard to love your neighbor. Fair enough. There are certainly people that don't love themselves terribly much and work hard on that. Andrew.
Supposed to segue from that. Like, love is complicated. Love is pretty ambiguous and nebulous sometimes. It changes in every relationship, and I think it distills a lot of the formality that's in the commentary. There's structured ways that you can approach different relations, the organization. It's all really central to Kabbalat Shabbat. Just distills it by negating.
Okay.
It just seems logical.
Fair enough. Yes. Alan and Molly, let's see.
I think that it's easy to romanticize being nice to your neighbors, cheerful, and all that. In our gut, we all know what we don't like. It's clearly identifiable and workable, and it's something identified.
Easier to identify
Oh,
what
much
we
easier to
don't.
identify. Romanticize, and I'm nice to everybody on the thing.
Okay.
So I think following Alan's lead on that is that we have to think twice about our relationship with our neighbor or the group and what are their preferences. So we're not just doing it from our own standpoint. I have to think 3, 5, 10 times before I would want to do any damage to someone else. So it's more of a unified group kind of, respect.
Steve.
It almost takes the tone of a commandment, thou shalt not, and most of the 10 Commandments are phrased in the negative in that sense.
Right? We have 300, according to tradition, 365 negatives, 248 positives. So you're going on the side of where most of them are this way. And also, Hillel and others point out, there's something challenging about commanding love, right? That comes up in other places too. V'ahavta is to love the Lord your God with all your heart. And the rabbis wrestle with this question of commanding love. They come down on the side of you can't command love the feeling, right? Feelings don't go on and off by command. They suggest that you can command loving action, which you may not be feeling loving when you do it, but the action itself can be loving. Randall.
There's another point about it, which is brought up by something that someone else said, and I've been turning over, which is it isn't simply a conversion from positivism.
Right?
You shall love your neighbor as yourself, or do unto others as you have them do unto you. It talks about what you want. The other form talks about what they want, what they don't want.
Right.
And that's different. That's not positive versus negative. That's whose desires are you considering? Whose fancy are you considering? Whose desires are you considering?
Yes, although even in the negative, what you don't do to them is based on your own desires to what you don't want done to you.
Isn't it what don't do? Does it say don't do unto them what's hateful to you, or what's hateful to them?
No, it was hateful to you.
Oh, okay.
What's hateful to you.
I'm misremembering the words.
But I agree that it is different for many of the reasons that people have suggested. Gail.
I think there's another verse in the Old Testament that is one line, and that's from Micah. The Lord is showing you.
Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. Yeah, so those are in the positive. So I'll tell you, by way of a story, what I think is another piece, and although I think it's connected to Molly, what you were suggesting. All through my teenage years, whether it was Hanukkah,
Hmm.
whether it was his birthday, I always brought my brother the same gift, which was a record that I wanted.
Must have been Bob Dylan.
And I would buy him the record, and then I would make a recording of the record, and 2/3 of the time, he didn't like the record anyway, and I just ended up with the record, right? I mean, I was loving my neighbor as myself, right? But there's something about preferences that I think there is more uniformity on what we don't want than what we do, right? People are very different. That which will satisfy me, I mean, it would not, another example, I mean, I love to go camping, so to love my neighbor as myself would be to take everybody out on long backpacking trips, and, you know, I venture to say most people would not see that as a gift of love, right? But I'm doing what I love. Why wouldn't they love it? By contrast, I think it's easier to boil down, and this is what Hillel suggests. Nobody wants to be bullied. Nobody wants to be teased. Nobody wants to be impoverished. That there is, in a way, there is more commonality. As numerous have pointed out, love is complicated. We love very different things in very different times, in very different places. But Hillel's suggesting, I think, there is a kind of threshold with don't do to others that which you would not want done, that which is hateful unto you. So I'll leave us to contemplate this. I can't resist ending with one very short political twist on this. I would only ask Justice Alito, would you like others to exercise control over your body? If not, you might not do unto others that which is hateful to you. Concluding portion of the service, we're going to count the Omer as we move from Pesach to Shavuot. We count the days, and we're moving along. Page 507. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Our praise to you, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot and commands us to count the Omer. Hayom echad ve'esarim yom shehem shlosha shavuot ba'omer. Today is the 21st day, which marks exactly 3 weeks of the Omer. Aleinu, for which we rise as able, page 586. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, la'tei gedula li'otzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'arasot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 588. Shehunot Hashamayim V'Yosed Haaretz U'Moshe V'Yikaro B'Shamayim Yima'al U'Shchina Tuzo V'Gofnei Merahomim Hu Eloheinu Einod Emet Mokeinu Efesulato Hakatu B'Torato V'Yadata Hayom V'Hashivota Elavavecha Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim B'Shamayim Mima'al V'Al Haaretz Mitatan Einod V'Nema 598, 599. We think of our loved ones, those whose death has taken from us recently, those who have died at this season in years past, those we have drawn into our hearts together with our own. Like those who are folks you are keeping in prayers for Kaddish, to feel free to speak the names of those who you are remembering.
Sullivan and Cheryl Sullivan. Lee Fighter. Joe Berenger. Rose the Brummer.
Those Congress.
Pat Thompson.
Zichronam Levracha. May their memories be for an enduring blessing. Calling them, I invite the mourners and those whose custom it is to rise for Kaddish, page 598. Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shemei Rabbah. Yalmad, Yivrach, Yirateh, Yamlich Malchuteh. B'chayechon, B'yomechon, B'chayei B'chol Beit Yisrael. B'agalah, B'yisman Kariv, B'yavru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Leolam, L'olmei Olmaya. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitahar, Yitolmam, Yitnaseh. Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shemei B'Kusha, B'richu. Le'elam, Mikol Birchata B'shirata. Hud B'chata B'nechamata. Ta'amiran Yalma B'yavru, Amen. Yehei Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya. B'chaim Aleinu Yokol Yisrael B'yavru, Amen. Osei Shalom B'yavrumav. Huyasei Shalom. Aleinu Yokol Yisrael B'yavru, Amen. May the one who makes peace on high let peace descend on us, on all Israel, on all the world. May comfort be with all who mourn, and let us all say, Amen. Thank you to Eddie, who's got us connected, for those of you who are watching online, and has also set us up. So we'll have Kiddush just after our concluding song. Thanks to Steve and Petra for the gift of their music. And invite everybody tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Abby Davis will be celebrating her becoming bat mitzvah. So invite everybody to join us for that. And we'll conclude with the Don Olam, page 625. Shabbat shalom.
Wow.